Adam Beckman tells the tale.
It was my brother's idea to go down to the lake. We'd brought an M80 firecracker, and we wanted to detonate it in the shallow water where we used to swim. We were 11, and it was late fall of 1977. We were visiting a place called Freedom, New Hampshire, a small town of a few hundred people just across the border from Maine. My dad had volunteered to do some maintenance work at a summer camp I'd once gone to. My brother Kenny, best friend Ian, and I went along. We'd been inseparable growing up, but now Kenny had started hanging out with an older crowd, and I'd been seeing less and less of Ian since I'd just transferred to a new school. I was in a funk about losing touch with Kenny and Ian, and so for me, the stakes for the weekend were a little higher than usual. In normal times, we like to go shoplifting or set things on fire. That Halloween, we'd taken cans of WD-40 and gone from door to door, spraying it in the mouths of jack-o'-lanterns till flames burst out their eyes and they blew up in balls of fire. This is my brother Kenny. He's now 37 and he's a scientist.
I think Ian's mom used to worry a little bit about Ian spending too much time with us or being brought under our bad influence, because I think we taught Ian about, throwing wood chips at cars, and we taught Ian about unfolding paper clips so that you could shoot them at people and so on.
So we were wandering around, looking for something to do, and we saw the house. It was gray, weathered, and leaning precariously at one end. The windows were boarded up from the outside. 2 old cars, probably from the 30s, sat in the yard. One of them had a tree growing up through a hole where the engine had been. At the back of the house, we found a window that was broken, and I remember peering into near darkness.
I remember it was kind of a dare kind of thing.
That's my friend Ian.
It was one of these things where we just would say, I'd go in that house, wouldn't you? And you'd say, yeah, I have no problem going in that house. And Kenny would say, yeah, that house looks fine. And none of us really wanted to go in the house because we're all scared. But we did.
Ian was the skinniest, so it was decided that he should go in first. He slid sideways through the broken panes so he wouldn't get cut, and disappeared. After maybe 10 seconds, he scrambled back out, clutching a newspaper. It was brown, and I remember it crumbled in our hands. The headline said something about Nazis invading. That was all we needed. One by one, we climbed into the house. It was dark inside. The only light came in through little cracks between the boards that covered the windows. The floor felt soft underfoot, and as my eyes adjusted, I could see that it was covered with a layer of filthy clothes. Junk was everywhere.
Actually, we couldn't walk around on the floor because you couldn't see the floor in most places.
It was just jammed with more stuff than you could live with. Because I remember there were a couple of rooms you couldn't go into for how much stuff was jammed in there.
I was careful to remember how we got in case we had to find our way out in a hurry. We were all very quiet. We'd seen enough horror movies to know that joking around could get us into trouble. Here's Ian.
We did not spread out. We stuck probably almost hip to hip. And our backs were glued to each other. And Ken was maybe looking the other way, and his back was So we were sort of like this little star of people walking in the house. And Kenny is like one of the worst people to go into a situation like that with. Because he's very jittery. And he always will kind of mumble about maybe what the worst thing might be my next tab. I bet somebody's going to come out of that closet,
Some rooms were in total disarray. with things strewn about like they'd been rummaged through. But then there were these little areas where things were untouched. In the kitchen, dishes were stacked on open shelves, pots and pans cluttered the sink, and the pantry was stocked with canned food. I picked up a container of Hershey syrup, and it felt heavy. A salt and pepper shaker sat on the kitchen table.
The main sense I had was of disaster.
This is my brother Kenny.
As if people had been kind of tootling along in their everyday lives, and something terrible had happened. Something catastrophic had happened to the people in the house. So catastrophic that no care had been put in arranging or sorting or editing any of the contents of their lives. And there was a feeling as we sat there that this time capsule hadn't been opened in 50 years.
Hanging in the kitchen was one of those calendars that they give out at gas stations. It was dated December 1938. In the bedroom was a pile of shoes, maybe 30 high, that had fused into one mass. On a nightstand, I found a pair of eyeglasses folded on top of the man's wallet, and I slipped them both into my jacket pocket. In another room was a bureau, and tucked in the mirror frame was an invitation to a dance at the town hall. Pinned to it was a rose that was completely withered. Kenny opened the closet door next to the dresser, and hanging there was a rotting white dress. We began to fabricate a little scene. A teenage daughter returns late from the dance with a rose. She pins it to the mirror and hangs her dress in the closet. And then something horrible happens, and that's when time stopped. Outside, squinting in the bright daylight, we raced back through town. Kenny and Ian were like kids coming up